Welcome back to the channel. KG is back with a sort of impromptu video. Had it on my mind over the last day or so, just with the topics that have been going on lately, concerning our game, concerning other games around the weekend, and it's a perfect time just to wrap it up into a little bow and just put it in one video and then just move on from it. Because talking about referees is something I particularly like doing, and then we've got the whole stuff with Mateus Click, and I'll just probably just touch on the Man City game towards the end. But obviously, as you're coming in, please smash the like button. If you're watching replay, please smash the like button. And yeah, listen, we'll just get into it, man, because the referees have been a hot topic, a very, very hot topic over the weekend. And this is why it's the perfect time for me just to get it out of the way. Because, like I say, I'm not really a big referee guy. I can remember maybe 3 times I've ever come out and said the referee is the reason why we've lost or anything else like that. Because I think that's just a bit too simplistic. But are there biases in the game? Well, absolutely there are. There's absolutely biases in the game. And this kind of stuff was being said all on my comments in my previous video. I've seen it around social media as well. I mean, Stephen Underwood is actually the person that told me about Bamford looking injured, and so I just wanted to shout him out there. But he asked, "Can someone explain why the Click foul was a pen and the one for West Ham at Burnley wasn't?" And the thing is, there's just so many layers to it. But I'm just going to try and get into it quickly and briefly as possible. But with Leeds fans, I think maybe it goes from just going by the comments, and I mean this in the nicest way. I just think that there's a few Leeds fans that just watch Leeds United, and I'm just assuming that because if you've been watching the Premier League since we've been out, and it was happening before then as well, the big clubs will always get the majority of the decisions. It's just the way it is. It's not right, but it's just the way that it happens to fall. And when you give any kind of reason for referees to look at a decision in favor of a big club, especially when they're not on the road to 3 points, the likelihood is they're going to get the decision. It doesn't mean it's right, but there are certain tackles and instances where you just have to go, geez, just play smarter. That's what you have to do. You have to be smarter. Don't give the referees any scope to even look at it. And our ones in our game, I already said it, and yeah, they were both penalties when you're in that kind of game. When Chelsea aren't winning, they're at home. You give them big reasons to have a look at it, and yeah, they're going to get given. Now, if it's the one at Man City Wolves, I'd be furious at that one. I'd be absolutely livid because that's when they don't even try and hide the bias. That's when they don't even try and hide that they're trying to get somebody over the line. And and then there's also another one in another game, and this is what I'm trying to say. This is why this weekend is perfect for me just to broach this topic and get it out the way. Because you just have to be smart. Mateus Click at the end, give Rudiger a reason to go down, and he went down. And it also goes from the directive as well. From the start of the year, we were seeing games. Remember, in the first 2-3 games, we were seeing games flowing better. People were tackling again. People were being able to tackle without it being a yellow card. Things have gone back to normal again, it seems. Things have just gone back to the way it was. So now little fouls are now being given again. James Maddison, arguably, was that a penalty against Newcastle? You know, they were trying to say that these kind of penalties won't be given anymore, but it's quite clear that they are again. And although they're soft, they were avoidable, both of them. Rafinha didn't have to dive in, and and really, I mean, it was terrible when you think about it. Why is he diving in like that? But and then Mateus Click doesn't have to kick a back to goal Rudiger who wasn't going anywhere at that point in the game. Sorry, Chelsea at home, title chasing, top 14, they're going to get that decision. Now going on to that Man City Wolves game, look at all the instances that led up to that as well. Like Man City at the time had a couple players booked. Raul Jimenez does a little tackle. It's not even a yellow card, but he gets a yellow card for it. Subsequently, he gets sent off for being, he had a head loss. He had absolute head loss, right? But then, as Man City is still not scoring because Wolves are very resolute defensively, João Martino puts his arm up. The ball hits him right underneath his armpit. I mean, it doesn't even touch his arm, and it's given as a penalty. But there's no big controversial thing about it. They're not going to be talking about a week later. And this again goes into referees as well. Referees in this country anyway. If they don't give that, if they give that against Man City, let's just say the Wolves player kicks it into Diaz. Diaz is underneath, and they give a penalty. That's going to get talked about for a week. It's going to get dissected. That referee's going to probably get demoted. It's going to get talked about until the next game comes up. That's what happens. And they're wary of that. They're human beings. They're referees. You like to think they follow the rules, just like everyone likes to think in their jobs their managers are going to follow the rules and treat everyone the same and fairly. No, it don't work like that. People already have biases in their heads. And it wasn't a penalty, and you could hear it. You're just think about the urgency as well. You think when commentators are talking about penalty instances, when it's a Norwich versus Watford, oh yeah, it could be a penalty. Yeah, it's a penalty. Let's move on. But let's say it's Harry Maguire on a Watford player. They need to look at it 25 times just to make sure that Harry Maguire actually did wipe out the player, because it's there's much more scrutiny when it comes to those top four clubs. And I've always said it as well. When top four clubs try and say that they don't get bias, I'm like, why are you trying to deny it? Like, I'd be proud of it if it was. It's like you really have to try and beat us to get anything from this team. Like, I wouldn't be trying to say it doesn't happen. I'd be saying, yeah, it does happen. But the thing is, it's quite obvious it does too. Uh, just coming into your comments now. Shout out to everyone in here. Uh, Rebecca G, evening KG. Thank you for posting so much recently. Love how you say things how it is. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's quite a busy month in all fairness, Rebecca. The games are coming thick and fast. But I just had to touch on this because I had so many comments as well with how is this a penalty and how is this not? It's not an anti-Leeds thing. It's not as simple as that. It's a structural thing in the Premier League. It's been here for years. Go further back. I mean, even talking about a goal that goes over the line and Fergie's looking at the referees funny, like, you better not give it because it didn't hit the net against Tottenham. Remember that one? It clearly went over Roy Carroll's head and in the goal, and it wasn't given as a goal. Let's go back a little, let's bring it forward a bit. Neil Warnock, just before VAR came in, I think it was the year before, actually. The year before, it was blatant offside against Chelsea. It was miles offside as well, and it was given as a goal for Chelsea. And Cardiff, I mean, that didn't succumb them to relegation, but it helped them down. But again, those are the decisions that will go against you. Now, like I say, the ones against Chelsea, it's annoying. It definitely is annoying. I understand they are soft penalties, but I get why they're given. The one against Wolves, though, I would be livid, and it's only right. And let's move it on to the West Ham one. West Ham would definitely drew a penalty in that game against Burnley. Absolute stonewall penalty. The guy just tripped him over. Like, he tripped over Dawson, I think it was. It was Dawson. Tripped him over blatantly, and yet nothing. They were doing this whole thing, VAR. No. Listen, some would say, and I saw my guys on the West Ham fan TV today say they don't want West Ham in that top four. Now that's all speculation. That's accusations that I will not get into. But can anyone say that that's not true? How do you not give that as a penalty? It's really weird. But yet, it was a penalty at Norwich Man United. God, there's so many instances, isn't there? Wow, amazing. But it was a penalty. But you would also say, would that be given if, say, Maguire was holding on to Pookie in that minute of the game? Probably not. But you don't need to give these officials any reason to do, because it was a mindless play from Max Aarons in the end anyway. So that's what I'm saying. And I don't even think it's something on purpose. It's just subconscious and conscious bias. I think it is a bit of both, in all fairness, because you see them when they retire. The referees always say, "Oh yeah, when we used to go to Old Trafford, there was the fear factor and everything else like that." It's going to happen. It happens in every walk of life. There's biases, but then until the systems are fixed, just like in other many factors of life, until the system's fixed, you just have to accept it. Not accept it. You don't have to be happy with it, but you just have to think, Jesus, this sucks. This is how it is, but it sucks. And that's why I don't get so irate. I remember in my post match review versus Brentford, there were so many fans saying, "Oh, the referee was terrible. He's letting Brentford get away with this, that, and everything." But to me, that is just how the game is played now. It doesn't mean it's right, but that's how it is. When an away team goes ahead, they're going to try and kill time. They're going to try and kill the ball. That's just how it is now. It doesn't mean do I agree? No, but that's what you're going to get until they change the rules. And it's just like the abuse I've seen Rudiger get. Nothing racial, but just how he's this so and so. But I guarantee if Rudiger was playing for Leeds United, you would absolutely love him because he's top quality as well. Let's not get it twisted. He's top quality, you know. And if he was pulling those antics, antics very similar to a certain bleached haired Ali Askew that we used to have, by the way. But if he's pulling those antics for Leeds, you guys are absolutely loving him. Let me just go into the comments there because, like I said, I don't want to. And this is it for me now. I don't want to talk about referees like that again because it's boring to me. Like whenever I see people just put a whole loss and everything else on a referee, I just think it's sometimes a bit of a cop out. And this will be it for me. Like we can always talk about bad refereeing decisions, especially if they're as blatant as the ones like at Burnley, West Ham, Man City, Wolves. But you know, I just keep it light. I try and keep it on the team performances. Paul Gray, they don't want a West Ham in the top four. Doesn't make money. They just want to market Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, City. Knock-on effects. Paul's hit the nail on the head. Think about it. Your representation in Europe. Think of all the kerfuffle today with the Champions League draws today. It's all brilliant, isn't it? Man United versus PSG would have been great, Ronaldo, Messi, but then they had to redraw the thing again, and then now they've got Atletico Madrid. But it's true. It's all about market. It's all about money in the end. And the Leicester thing, I don't think they ever want to see a Leicester win the league again. I truly don't. Allegedly, you have to say that just in case Premier League ever try and sue a man for all the pennies I've got. But I just don't believe that they want it. It was a nice story at the time, but ultimately they want the same four to go into Europe. They want the same teams representing because they're bigger entities, they're bigger stories. They're not more important, but they're more valuable. It is true. It is true. That's why you see so many bad decisions in games like this. I mean, this is off topic, but hey, I'll answer this. Emmett Oliver, KG or boxing fan, who's your favorite? Floyd Mayweather was my favorite. Absolute GOAT. Mike Tyson was another, but Floyd Mayweather, just for that defense that he had, no one could touch him. Brilliant boxer. Yeah, I mean, look, yeah, story 65 games we've already played. James has been taken out big time, yet no penalty given. Not a soft click challenge, but clattered. Oh yeah, exactly. The one at Newcastle. I know the one you're talking about. Story. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you're gonna get those. Those are gonna be 50-50 mistakes when it's like a Leeds Newcastle game. You're always gonna get mistakes, and I don't envy referees' jobs. I really don't, because I wouldn't want to be one. But you're always going to get mistakes like that. But this is it. You're talking VAR now, where there's two people looking over it, and that's what gets me more about that Man City Wolves. That referee in the VAR studio looked at all those camera angles and still went with a penalty for handball. It's actually disgraceful. It is. Lisa White in the house. Bielsa more or less said football is about money. It is. And I think it's because I've processed this so long ago now. Just like how I'm just kind of used to players leaving clubs now, especially after our fire sale when we nearly went bankrupt. That I've just got used to it now. I'm just used to seeing bad referees. It really doesn't surprise me if a referee has a bad game. It doesn't surprise me if Mike Dean takes center stage when he's on Monday Night Football. It's just how the game is now. So until they get rid of all these referees, I'd love them to get in. My suggestion has always been get all these referees out, bring in some ones that have completely no affiliations or affinities with any of these players or teams, and get them on the pitch, because I think the game would be a lot more fun then as well. Greenvale Gaming, ref bias is what made beating City last year so much more special. Chrissy, I mean, that's a bribing now. I don't know about that one. Rick P. Llorente got a bit of stick from our fans last year when he S house, and this is another thing, and Rick, you hit a great point. Playing in the Premier League is about ability. Of course it is. But you have to be smart and you have to play the game. You just have to. All this being nice thing, all this thing, and this is why I say when I'm proud of the players when they ran around the referee when Cooper won that penalty the other week. You have to do that in the Prem. You don't have to be over the top with it like Roy Keane back in the day. Nothing like that. But you have to make your presence known. You just have to. You have to play the game. Until they change the rules, you have to play the game that everyone else is playing. Otherwise, you're going to get left behind and you're going to get left with no points. It is as simple as that. As much as you want to see a nice clean cut game, nice honest game, the game isn't honest, and it hasn't been for a very, very long time. Let me see. Acton Dave. I think that's it. That's spot on. They don't want West Ham in the Champions League. Never going to sell the TV rights globally. Then all a knock-on effect. It's like if West Ham get into the top four, it will be because they work damn hard to get in there. But they're not going to get anything like that. They're not going to get any easy passes. And again, I just want to make it clear: it's a majority of the time. So if a decision goes against Liverpool this weekend or something like that, don't come to me and say, "Well, look what happened against Liverpool," because I tell you what will happen then. The week after, you'll hear nothing but Klopp and all the rest of them talk about it, and then Liverpool will get a couple of decisions in the game after. That's how these things go, and it has been like that forever. So, you know, uh, I see a couple of these debrief. I have no idea. There's no debrief today anyway. Not that I'm going to be a part of anyway. So yeah, Matthew Smith, KGVAR doesn't work. It's still all about opinions. There will always be human error, and we have to accept that. Yeah, yeah, human error is going to be uh, prevalent in the game. Machines are still operated by human beings, so yes, of course, there's always going to be human error. Of course. Uh, Spot on. Well, thank you. Phil Clark saying there should be more women refs in the game. Shake it up. I'd have no problem with that. I mean, and just before I move on to the Mateus Click thing, because man, this is way too long on refs. But just think about lines people now. How redundant those guys are. They are literally just standing there with a flag to look. I don't know what they're doing. Like we literally had Rafinha running through just the other day. Perfect example. The defenders knew it was offside, and if they clatter him, I don't think there's any action that can be taken because it would have been an offside play. Like the rules are they're just all a mess. It's all a mess. It's as simple as that. It's just gone into a complete tailspin where you've just got lines people putting up the flag about a minute after a play's been made. It's like, yeah, crazy, 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 crazy. Uh, right. Okay, yeah. Let's move on from the referees. But so that's my stance on that. If you're watching a replay, give me your thoughts on what it is about refs. If you got any thoughts on it, just drop them in the comments, man. And yeah, just let me know. Let me know what you think about referees and is there bias there? Do you believe that there's bias? If you're a big four team, because I know there's some rival fans that watch this stuff, just admit your biases, please. Don't come in here saying you don't get any the easiest decisions. Come on now, let's be honest. But yeah, let's move on to the click abuse. Yeah, because right, this is a subject where it's quite simple. When you say it, don't at a player's abuse. Just don't do it. Like I'm not your daddy, but I've got to tell you, don't don't at players abuse. Like it's not going to do them any good, and I'm sure in the long run, when you think about it, it won't do you any good either. Like I just feel that when you're atting abuse at people in general, yeah, I think it says more about yourself where you are if you're unhappy with yourself. I really do believe that because I've critiqued players on here many times. uh, Roberts. I don't need to mention names. If you've been here long enough, you know the names. But I even said in the last video, click, and I've maintained it as well. I think he should be looking for a new home in January. I do. I think the club should be looking to cash in on him and get the best money that they can from either Holland, Germany, or whichever league will take him, the French league, whatever it may be. But there's a way of putting out the message, because I'm still very thankful for everything he's done for the club. He's been amazing. He's been absolutely amazing, actually, for the club. The amount of games he put in over 90 minutes consistently for a couple of years. But in the Premier League, it just hasn't worked. On the pitch, it hasn't worked. And I would hope that Mateus Klick, if he ever did hear that, would understand where I was coming from with there, because the performances haven't been there while he's been in the Premier League. They just haven't. But at the same time, I'm saying it on here. Mateus Klick, with all due respect, and my ego isn't big enough for me to think that Mateus Klick is going home from training saying, I wonder what Cage is thinking of me today, and putting me on his TV. I just don't see it. But he made a mistake. You could see he was gutted about the mistake. And I said that in my match review as well. You could see that he knew he made a mistake straight away. He doesn't need to get added abuse. Now, I didn't see the abuse. I didn't see the severity of the abuse at all. But it was enough for him to just, delete his or deactivate his Twitter for a bit. And yeah, it's just something that I just think that you can avoid doing with players, because when I at a player, it's usually just to big them up. It's usually just to say a good game, or just drop the fire emojis, just some encouragement, something like that. I just don't think that at players abuse or anybody is going to do anyone any good. But I also accept that he's a footballer where he's going to get opinions being told for him. If he's getting praise, then he should accept criticism. That's fair. But outright abuse, personal abuse, is a different matter. And listen, I mean, on a much smaller scale, my little channel here, on my last match review, a few people found it funny when I blocked the guy near the start of the stream. It's because he came out with a sentence that was just, it was ridiculous. Like, if paraphrasing here, if KG is going to be negative in the first 2 minutes, I'm out. Well, I'll do you a favor and I'll ship you out now, mate. Have a nice evening and see you later. But it's like, you don't need to say that. If you can think it in your head and watch it and go, nah, this guy's just been negative again. I'm going. I'm going to go somewhere else, because there's plenty of other places for you to go as well. That's the beautiful thing about YouTube. But it's also like my social media settings on, especially on Twitter. Like, there's I say watertight, but there's always some people that seem to like slip through the crack. But I don't get any mentions or anything. I don't see any mentions from anyone I don't follow, anyone without a picture, and various other things that you need to have on Twitter. I don't see any of it. So it's up to me to go and look for it. And I'll just tell you a little thing. When I started on YouTube, I was with Rants and Bants. Rants is a big YouTuber, and the shows were doing big numbers. So ultimately, there and then, I know that my opinion is going to be there to either be praised, critiqued, slandered, and everything else in between. So that's fair enough. I know what I'm doing when I come on the YouTube spaces. I get it. So I never saw any of the abusive comments as such. But then when you're going back and looking for a tweet where you both make a point that's come true, like say a month later, and you want to go, here it is, and haha. I typed in our names, and I was like, I looked at the comments for some things that people were saying about. So like, oh my days. Wow. Well, if that's how you feel. But that's how it was. You actually, you will see all kinds of crud on your name when you type it in and look for it yourself. But Mateus Klick in that instance isn't searching for it himself. He's actually getting it directed at him. You're putting his name in so he sees what you're saying, and that's when it's out of line. That's when it's out of bounds for me, because you can generally critique him and just say, just generally in your social media posts, Mateus Klick was made the mistake for the third goal, and leave it there. You don't have to then at him and say you're so and so or whatever it may be. Yeah, Phil Clark, totally agree. No need to abuse people. Everyone makes mistakes. Yeah, and I've seen the fan base in general rally behind him now. They're going to be singing his song at the Arsenal game, I believe. But what I would say is as well, yes, support him, because he's been amazing. He's been amazing for us. But don't go. See, football fans, we either go this way or that way. There's never any in the middle. Don't then just all of a sudden just say that he's been good, because he hasn't been good. Like I've seen that a lot as well, where people are now saying he hasn't been that bad, and it's like, come on now, we look where we are in the league. Are you trying to say that you really don't want any central midfield upgrades now? So that's all I'd say there. I'd say just be thankful for everything is done, but accept now that it is time to move on. Kev McNally, don't say anything on social media what you wouldn't say to someone's face. Exactly. I mean, listen, you can get in trouble for a lot of things that you really want to say about this kind of subject here, but it's true. There's so many people that are just so happy to slander people because they think that there's going to be no consequences. It's actually quite mad when you think about it. Because if they ever bumped into you on the streets and you said, let's dance, they ain't dancing. And you know that for a fact as well. They'll be looking down on the floor like, oh no, it wasn't me. It was I think my friend got my phone or something. My friend did it. You know one of them. You know how it is. Byron saying keeping it real can come across negative. I'm a big critic of Marcelo Bielsa for strong, valid points. Uh, yeah, listen. I mean, listen. I've already said that as well, and I said it to a subscriber earlier as well, where he said, oh, I say where they said that they felt like they were being a troll. They come across as a troll just because they question Marcelo Bielsa. I don't think it all depends on how you put it. And this person has never come across as a troll to me. So he's always put across, or they've always put across their points very, very effectively, concisely, and conducive to how our season's gone so far. So they're not wrong. It's just that Marcelo Bielsa has got a lot of credit, and rightly so as well, for lifting this club from the absolute dirt and putting us in the Premier League again after so many people had tried and failed. So I understand why some people will not criticize him, but that's just the way it is. Uh, oh, okay, yep. Let me just. That's something about the refs. Yeah, I mean, we've dropped 15 points this season. Imagine how many have been caused by our own errors. Yeah, yeah. We've caused a lot from our own errors. We've spoken about it before. Just mad errors that we just keep doing to ourselves. Just bad goals conceded. John Smith, Click has been so good at times, but not this season, and Bielsa is putting him in harm's way. Yeah, because again, he was involved in the build up to the second goal, which is great, and a lot of people were bringing that up, and it's true he was. And it was Tyler Roberts with that beautiful ball across for Gilhart to get that first goal, which I'm still delighted about. But it was the stuff before, and it doesn't change it. The fact that he's had to come off social media doesn't change that he was very sloppy with the ball beforehand. He ends up giving up the decisive penalty at the end. So you just have to call it how you see it, and that's all I do. But I'd never at him and say, "Get out of the club." That's disgraceful. Like it's quite embarrassing. Just me thinking about it now, me visioning that in my head, saying at him, Mateus Click, and saying, "I want you to leave the club," is it's disgusting actually. So obviously, some people just don't have that in their heads right now. But I think in a few years they'd probably regret it. I genuinely do. If you got any kind of human decency about you, but it is just about moving on and upgrading the team. Now we're in the Premier League. You just have to do it. Uh, big up to everyone in the chat. Yeah, big up, comrade, disabled team. Beautiful. Yeah. Why not send me? You know that it happens. Why not? Oh, my friend did it. It wasn't me. My friend hacked my phone. You know how it goes. Why not? Yeah, Chrissy. I'm just humbled Leeds are no longer sponsored by net flights and Mackay's and whiskey. Yeah, it's good, man. It's like whenever I see us in the Premier League table, I'm just so happy that we're there again. I'm just delighted. We're no longer getting dead banter from Barnsley fans and Millwall fans and all these irrelevant clubs that use us as their cup final every year. It's like, yeah, we're back. We are back where we belong. Uh, yes, Steph Arty, yeah, Steph Arty. Is that a trick name? Oh no, I think I might have got gun. But Steph says, I'm genuinely looking forward to tomorrow. If we played like we played against Chelsea, we have a good chance for a point, if not all three. Man City haven't played the best for a few games. Okay, okay. Well, we'll get into that. We'll get into that now, actually, because like I said, I don't want to go too long today. Um, I don't want to go too long. I just wanted to get those main points out of the way. But seeing as we're going on to that, but just to finish, please don't act players abuse. Let's just back every player that's on the pitch. Of course, you can always want better for your club, but you don't need to be abusive because at the end of the day, it's not their fault that they're here. It's up to the management as well to see when a player's reached their limits and move them on. So yeah. Hey, listen, John H. I've seen this one before. Ronaldo may be available for a loan in January, worth a punt. Wijnaldum would be amazing, but I think Wijnaldum is going to another Champions League team, or at least like a Tottenham with Antonio Conte at the helm, where he's trying to push for top four. I just don't see us getting someone like Wijnaldum. He's too good, he's got too much stock. He's going to be wanted by quite a few clubs on loan. You have to believe that. If we was to ever get someone like that, I'd be delighted, absolutely delighted. He's a top player, but I just think that he's heading for European football. Uh, Rick P. Okay, yeah, Rick P. Just saying here, always going to get one or two idiots in a fan base. We're not even close to the abuse so-called big teams give their own players like Maguire, Werner, McFred, Kane. Yeah, I would think that's fair, and I would say that's very accurate actually, because if there's one thing Leeds United fans do is back the players while they're playing for this shirt. It's sometimes it's a bad thing, but they do. We back the players while they're playing for Leeds United, and that's something that we can definitely say is true. Absolutely. Uh, da, 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 da. Okay. Few transfer. Another one here. Brayton Diaz and Swift will do me. I think Swift's more likely. I think Diaz. I saw him linked to Brighton, and that Brighton link made all the sense to me. That he would suit Brighton down to the ground. The way they play, they need somebody with a bit of an instinct on him to finish off the chances that they create. Brayton Diaz is definitely that guy. Ever since he went to Chile, he's come back hot. So yeah, he's hot. Let's have a look. Lisa, do you think the club will do any business in January? We could do with a few bodies in. I absolutely hope so, Lisa. We have to. I think it's quite obvious as well from our bench. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but in the euphoria of having such a good game, um, our bench was not good. So we do definitely need to get in a few bodies, and I think management will see that, and I think they will do it. I definitely do believe that. Is this Callum? Callum, I need an answer. Messi or CR7? If this is you, Callum, you know the answer. You know the answer. Go and check the ads on his Instagram. You know who it is, okay? Back of the net. Some football fans have short memories. There will be signings in January. The board can't afford to be in trouble. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's short memories. I mean, yeah, some do. But what it is with me is, I've if you're talking about Mateus Click in this instance, I've given Click a lot of time because I want him to do well. Of course, you want him to do well, but let's be honest. Over the course where we've been back in the Prem, it hasn't been very good from him overall. It just hasn't been. So you have to move on. Listen, our club is going to be here long after Mateus Click stops playing football. So you have to think about the club first. That's something I always preach here. Kenny Ken an Arsenal fan always says it best as well about Arsenal. The club is the star. That's the same for us here. Leeds United is the star above anything. You can be thankful for the players and everything else, but your club always has to come first. John Smith, Bielsa seems to be saying he does not see us getting more players. Yeah, I know, but listen, they have to say that publicly. Otherwise, no one knew that we had near 25 to 30 million ready for Dan James, did they? So you just have to hope that the club are just keeping their cards close to their chest, and then we actually do something because we have to, man. We have to, and and just going on to the Man City game, and Bielsa said something about Lewis Bate. Let me just see. Uh, and this is via Adam Popey's Twitter. Uh, Marcelo Bielsa on Bate and what he needs to do to make the squad. Bielsa says what he's doing is sufficient, very hard working and serious. He's competing with players of his age and those already in the first team. It's weird for me that phrase though, because Jack Jenkins is getting on the bench ahead of Bate, and Bate is way better than Jenkins. So I don't know what that means, but it doesn't really sound like Bates anywhere close to getting a game as of yet. Um, but listen, there wasn't much team news to come out of the game, out of the press conference today. Let me just say, yeah. So I would expect the team to be pretty much the same as we saw against Chelsea, seeing as there was no new injuries or anything else like that. There's no one coming back. One change I would make from the team though is I would put Dan James out on the left and get Gelhardt starting. That is the one change I would make, and drop Harrison to the bench. I just think that it's just we have to start the guy. We have to start the kid. Have to start him in games. I don't want him to be an impact sub, and what I don't want to see as well is him not get any minutes in this game. Just like how he did well in the last game and then didn't come on against Norwich. I need Gelhardt to start in this game. I would like to see it. I don't know if it will happen, but that would be my preference. So I'd keep everything the same. Roberts, Rafinha, James, Forshaw, Dallas, Shackleton, all the rest of them. But I would just put Gelhardt in for Harrison and go from there and see what we can do. Uh, no, Bates he's permanent sentiment. Bates he's our signing for permanent. But yeah, the Man City game. Now the Chelsea one, I don't know. What is everyone saying about the Man City game? What's your predictions? Because yeah, when we're talking Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, we're talking about the three best clubs in the country quite easily as well. It's not even close. But when you talk about Man City, you're talking about an absolute juggernaut. And there's just something about it for me where Pep didn't get the win last season. He didn't beat us. We got one draw, and obviously we beat them at their place with 10 men to boot. I just feel like he's going to be out for a little bit of revenge. Oh, I love this though. Christopher 2-1 leads. Steph saying 2-1 leads. Okay, Matt Davis is 3-1 City. It's just going to be very difficult to do what we did against Chelsea against Man City, just purely for the way that Man City move around the pitch. They move a lot better than Chelsea, and it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be very tough. The better teams than us have had hidings from Man City. Let's just put that out there as well. But let's try and put on the best performance we can. And as Steph said earlier, if we can perform like we did against Chelsea, put in that effort. Don't go man to man so much, and let them come on to us and see if they can break us down. Let's see if they can get through like we did against Chelsea, and just try not to concede any penalties. Who knows what we can do? Who knows? But it's just that when you're looking at big up Joe. Lisa said, did I already get Lisa? 3-1 to City, too much quality. Chrissy 4-4. Falilu 2-1 Man City. Back of the net. Head says last, heart says draw. Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna be real. I think we're gonna lose the game. But once again, as I always say, and I'll always say it when I predict a loss, if we're gonna lose, if I predicted a loss, I want my team to prove me wrong. Just prove me wrong. Prove me wrong and get the result that I don't think we're gonna get. I just think Man City are just on a different plane, and the football they're playing right now. I know somebody says they're not in good form, but this is them not in very good form, and they're still not really losing. So I just think that our key players as well, like Calvin Phillips and Bamford being out, is just going to be too much as well. I just think it's going to be too much. So I'm going to go with a City win on this one, and just hope that the players can prove me wrong. That's all I can say. But even if we get a hiding, and let's not forget, I don't do free hits here. We don't do free hits on this channel. Okay, no such thing as a free hit, because everyone is beatable. But even if we do get a hiding, sometimes it just happens against teams of this quality. Listen, they're going to have Cancelo out tomorrow. He's out, but you know who's coming in? Carl Walker. It's not a bad change, is it? It's not a bad substitution to make. It's not a bad replacement to have when you've got Cancelo going out to Kyle Walker, a noted Sheffield United fan who obviously would love to do something against Leeds United too on that point as well. So yeah, yeah, Sanderson, Callum, if this is you, man, you guys have the players to genuinely hurt them. Well, we'll see. I hope so. I hope so. And Steph, yeah, Steph making a point here about Forshaw and Furpo. Amazing players to have playing. They impressed me a lot in the last game as well, Steph. We just can't concede yellows. There are four players on four. We need them for Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, this is it. I mean, the thing is as well, we're not a really dirty team. They've just been for niggly things. They've been for more taking off the shirts, a bit of dissent here and there, a bit of fiery, kicking the ball away and stuff like that. So yeah, we do need some of the players just to maybe just calma for this game and be ready for Arsenal. Because obviously you were looking at the Arsenal game as the one that I definitely think we can win, especially at home. I definitely put us down for a win against Arsenal at this point. But yeah, we need just a little bit more discipline. But sometimes you can't help yellow cards, and if somebody has to take a tactical yellow card tomorrow to prevent us, conceding a goal from a drawing position or a winning position, then so be it. Back of the net. This is why we want it to be in the league to play these top tier teams. It's only the current league position that makes for pressure. Enjoy the ride. Come on, Leeds. We have done it before. Yeah, this is it. That's why I look at these runner games and I love it. I want to see these games again. It's much better than seeing Millwall, Yeovil, Luton, and all these other teams, isn't it? It's a lot more fun. So let's embrace it. I wish we had our full army, but we don't. But look how we got on with it against Chelsea. So let's just see what we let's just see what we do. Yeah, there are no free hits here. I'm very surprised. I think yeah, I think that might be it. I think that might be it. DB saying Arsenal falling off so badly. Every team in the league thinks they can beat Arteta's clown army. Yeah, I mean it's not that they're a terrible team, but they're just not what they were, right? So everyone does believe that they can have a chat, that they've got a chance against them. It's nothing personal. It's just where they are in the table now. So uh, let me see. Yeah, any last minute comments? I'm going to end this now. We're almost up to 45 minutes. I didn't even plan to go this long. Liverpool fan in the house. Rafinha to Liverpool this January. Come on. All right. We'll see about that, won't we? We'll see about that, Cameron. They are relentless, people. They are very, very relentless when it comes to Rafinha. But yeah, listen, people. Yeah, that concludes it. Just a little bit of football talk for you, and just to get that out of the way. If you're in the building, please smash the likes if you haven't already. If you're watching the replay, smash the like also. And I will be back tomorrow after the Man City game for the match reaction. Just be here straight after the game, and we'll talk about it then. If there's anything big to talk about, we'll go through it then. So yeah, until tomorrow, people.